Good day, and welcome to another trenchant episode of Two Mics with Two Mics. And before I introduce the other fellow with me, trenchant means, definition of trenchant.
Trenchant means vigorous or incisive in expression or style. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
Yes.
Trenchant is an archaic and literary term. It means of a weapon or tool having a sharp edge.
So welcome to another trenchant episode of Two Mics with Two Mics. And the first winner of our contest is a young man named Alex who came up with the word trenchant. I'm Pastor Mike, and I have a microphone.
And I'm Pastor Michael, and I also have a microphone. And yes, Alex, you are the winner. Congratulations. So you'll be receiving your $50 gift card to Amazon in the next, let's say, week or so. Let's give
Couple of
ourselves
months
a
for
buffer
sure.
zone. There you go. When the Lord returns. Okay, before the Lord returns. There you go. So today,
Yes.
we, by popular demand, are going to be speaking on, we're going to call it manhood, being a man. Based out of, let's just bring up the word here. I don't know what happened here. I love the Bible app because it never fails, ever, right?
I have it right here.
You know, I had it, and then it just was gone.
I
Go
think
ahead.
what he's talking about is 1 Corinthians 15, 13.
16,
Which-
13, I thought. What is going on?
1 Corinthians 16, 13, which is
Stupid
in
Bible
the King
app.
James, which sometimes the King James, King James says, "Watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong." What the heck does that mean? So where'd you want me to look it up?
Oh, I'm going to look it up. My Bible app literally started doing the audio thing. This is why I didn't get a smartphone until I was like 20-something. I don't even care. This is annoying. Here we go.
Okay,
I
you're
got
going to
it.
give it in a different translation.
I'm going to give it in a different translation as long as I don't throw my phone because this is stupid. There we go. All right. Here we go. This is the ESV. ESV says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, and be strong."
Okay, what's it mean to act like men?
Well, first of all, you have to have the equipment of a man to act like a man. So let's start on that basis right there. Gender and sex are not mutually exclusive. They're not they're not separate. They are together.
Okay,
They
how
are
many?
one.
How many? Just so our audience knows, how many genders are there?
It's a spectrum.
How many genders are there?
There's endless amount.
Okay, I'll just say it. There are only two genders:
According to our
male
society,
and
there's an endless
female,
amount.
XX and XY.
Correct. Anyway,
That's it. Seed and egg. That's
Yes.
it.
And here's the thing. This is what's important. We're not going to go into that necessarily, but we're just commenting on it. When it comes to being a man, when we talked about this last time, we brought up David. We brought up the Battle of Ziklag. We brought up a whole lot of different aspects of what it meant to be a man. Today, we're going to focus on the word protection. Protection and what it means to be a man, giving protection to your family, giving protection to those around you who are, let's say, a little less
The weaker.
able. The weaker,
Right.
yes, the weaker. What does that look like? And when we're talking about the gender roles, okay, no, they cannot be interchangeable. They're not. I, believe it or not, I cannot get pregnant. Can you? Have you done
I
that
don't
before? Do you have a uterus?
Number one,
Prove it.
I don't have a uterus, and not only can I not get pregnant, I don't even want to think about that.
Well, that's good. That's good since you can't.
I thought we were doing three things.
We are, but we're going to start with the first one. We're not going to tell them
oh,
everything.
you're not gonna tell
No,
them
we're not
the
going to tell them.
rest.
But the thing is with men, there is a difference between men and women, that being one of them. Another one is a man has more fast twitch muscle fibers. A man has more bone density. There are biological differences, believe it or not, between men and women, which actually make men more of a protector.
So you don't agree with, I heard the boxing commission said they're going to allow men to beat up on women?
That actually happened, I think it was in UFC, where a male who identifies as a female beat the snot out of a
Beat the
biological,
crap out of her.
yeah, out of a biological female. I can't remember what that UFC match was, but it was brutal. that woman came out with a completely bloodied face and they gave the win to the man. It was really quite horrendous. But anyway, so let's talk about protection as a man.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you and I are two different ages. I have a little bit more spring in my step because I have a little less age
You have
on
more
me.
muscle mass.
I have more muscle mass, which we'll get into in a minute. But
I have brains.
here's the thing. It makes no difference if you're older. Can you still protect your household?
Yes.
How? How would you do it?
This is one way.
I don't think it's how you hold it.
I
But
know.
what is that for those who can't see?
Well, a weapon right here, and just to show everybody that it is not loaded, unloaded, so it's safe. My wife has one of these, unregistered, by the way. So if you ever hear that I was shot and killed with a 38, well, that'd be a wooden place to start looking. It'd be her.
I got a couple of different people that are out after me. But anyway, so okay.
So one way to protect your family is get a gun, get a rifle, get a shotgun, get a home defense
Yes.
shotgun, to protect your family.
Something practical for you. Because some people are like, oh, I got this long sniper rifle. And it's like, well, your hallway is about 15 feet.
Right.
What's the point of that?
Right, right. I have one of those Mossberg Shockwaves. I should have brought it. It's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger had, on Terminator. You pull it off your back. And so it can do either 5 regular rounds of 12 gauge shot, or it can do the mini shots and about a dozen of those. It's pretty cool. But that's strictly for home defense.
Yeah. And go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're
No,
good.
I was just going to say, like one of the biggest things against our society is guns are bad. Guns are evil. Guns kill people. And the reality is guns have actually saved more people, and actually particularly women who are home alone. They've saved a lot of women who are home alone, stay-at-home moms who have a weapon if someone breaks in their home. But with a man, I'll put it to you like this. You have elderly. You have those who are injured. You have those who are handicapped. You have those who have some deficit in terms of being able to protect themselves, where a weapon, specifically a gun, a firearm, will protect them from an intruder, will protect them from danger. Our society is literally trying to pump these men, biological men, because I don't really see them as men.
That's the only ones we recognize.
Trying to tell these men that guns are evil. And so they won't get a gun for their home. They won't even touch a weapon, where
Because they're giving into the rhetoric.
they're giving into it, yes. Now, I see we have...
We have a rock.
Yes.
Your cup's kind of, yes, thank you. I know you're left-handed. We have
Well, this could be used too.
We have a rock and we have a pistol. Both of these are instruments. Both of these are things. Neither one of these are inherently evil. Neither one of these have a soul. Neither one of these have a conscience. Neither one of these can decide how to be used. No, the person decides how to use them. For instance, this was the first weapon of choice to murder somebody. Cain used a rock to murder his brother Abel. Do you think there were protests against rocks back in those days?
What kind of rocks?
Oh.
There's a lot of different kinds of rocks. Igneous
The
rocks.
rocks that kill.
Oh, okay. Okay. So rocks that resemble things. Got it.
I wonder if they had legislation against, who can own a rock and how many rocks can you own and the size of the rock. Because one of them may be, a rock. What do they call them?
How many pebbles are around the rock?
Yes. But this was the weapon of choice for Cain to kill his brother Abel. So, again, these are instruments. These are things. It depends on whose hand they happen to be in. I believe it was King David who used a smaller stone, but he also used it as a weapon, and he slew Goliath.
Correct. And let's just, for the sake of it, okay, because I want to make sure we get right back on protection, because this is important. In Europe, where they have gun bans, in numerous countries, okay, what went up when the gun bans happened? What went up when they took the weapons from the people.
Crime went up.
Crime went up. What kind of crime? Crime with knives, crime with hammers and tools,
Or
because
rocks.
a hammer and rocks. The crime went up. The statistics went up and skyrocketed in terms of stabbings. Because people will always find a way to hurt other people, whether they use a tool like a screwdriver, whether they use a tool like a hammer,
And
or
if you're going
a
to
knife.
break into a house and you know for a fact that that person does not have a gun, how much more, I don't know what you call it, courage or whatever, stupidity, whatever, wouldn't you be more inclined to break into that house than you would into a house where you know
Let me share.
the person's armed?
Let me share a little bit of my past, okay? I ran with some less than reputable characters. There were times where we would drive and we do something called case in the joint, okay? For a lot of people, they don't know what that is because they've lived sheltered lives. Case in the joint means which house can we break into? Who's got what? A lot of the time, it wasn't necessarily random. We would know of the person. That person would run their mouth and tell us what they had, whether it be how much weed they had, whether it be how much money they had, whether it be the whatever. And we would case the joint to kind of see what the deal was. Okay, who's home? What do they have? Blah, 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 blah.
Did they have a dog?
Oh, yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one. Unless it was like this big, then you didn't
Did
care.
they have an NRA sticker on their car?
Oh, yes, because all drug dealers and reputable
Well,
characters.
So you're breaking
NRA.
into drug dealers' homes?
Yeah, that would happen.
And that drug dealers aren't members of the NRA, huh?
No, apparently not. But some of them would have a gun because they would understand, hey, I have some stuff that people want. But the ones who were kind of fresh and stupid would run their mouth, tell you what they had, and they would not have a firearm, whether because they weren't able to get one or because they didn't think there was a need for one and they thought they were the man. The reality is that if you do not have a weapon and it's well known, you might be able to fend yourself off with a tool. You might be able to, if someone
Baseball
broke
bat.
if someone broke in, you might be able to grab a knife and protect yourself. You might be able to grab a hammer and protect yourself. Some people in certain
Or a hatchet
big
like the
cities,
one behind you.
yeah, and in big cities, people have bats under their beds. People
Mm-hmm.
have, blunt objects. Okay, if you have that, and let's say there's 3 guys, because sometimes you don't go alone.
Right.
Most times you don't go alone. You have a lookout and you have 2 guys to run around the house. And that's in a minimum. That's a minimum usually. And the reality is if there's 2 guys and you have a bat, you might be able to hit one. You might be able to take a swing at one, but where's the other one?
Right.
And so it's very different swinging a bat versus a big loud bang and someone hitting the floor. And that could be whether they were killed, whether they were hitting the arm, hitting the leg. There's a huge difference between the two because a big loud bang says there's more bullets in that gun than one. Because more often than not, they're not going to take the Maverick gun that pops out, where you have a one shot.
Those are cool.
Those
I
are
have
cool.
one of those.
Those are cool, and you should get on that. But for the pop out. But regardless, that's why the weapon, the firearm specifically, is a vital tool of protection
Right.
for anyone who has a family, any man who has a family, multiple people in the home, possessions that are actually of value to somebody else. And here's the other thing. You don't necessarily need to be rich and have a lot of possessions for someone to desire to be in your home.
Oh, right.
All it takes is for the right guy, for the right evil person to see, hey, you got a daughter.
All right.
She's pretty good looking. She's 13
And,
years old.
sex
She's 14 years
trafficking
old.
is on the rise.
That's right. She's 13, 14 years old. I'm going to follow you home. And bada bing, bada boom.
Now, we're not saying a pistol or a shotgun is the only means. We're talking about being a man, you protect your home. You can also incorporate bright lights, motion lights,
Security cameras.
Security cameras, and also sirens
Oh, yeah.
that go off really loud.
And they have some great locking mechanisms for the doors and stuff like that, but that doesn't cover the windows.
Right.
Really, it's better to have a weapon. I mean, this is a classic saying for a reason. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Exactly.
And so that's a huge deal. And yeah,
Real men protect their
Correct.
families.
correct. Now, that's inside the home.
Right.
So let's move on to the next point, unless
Okay.
you have more on this.
No, I think we've
'Cause this is
covered
vital.
that point pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
But it did
And
give
honestly,
me,
I'll say this: take some firearm classes. If you're
There you
scared,
go.
if you're from the East Coast cities, if you're from the West Coast cities, and you're terrified of a firearm because you believed all the rhetoric, take a firearm class and see how it works. See how safe you feel understanding your weapon.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Once you understand the basic rules of owning a weapon and the proper use of that weapon,
Yeah.
you'll feel a lot more comfortable. I wonder if anybody has rock classes.
I do.
You have rock classes?
Yeah, we lift them and we put them down.
Those are weight classes.
So the next aspect of protection as a man, because it's important, this is like home protection, and I think every man should be ready for people to intrude in their home, to break into their home, because you don't know who's out there. You don't know who's in your neighborhood. You don't know who moved down the street. You don't know who's, you just don't know. But the other aspect is when you're out and about. This one is huge. When you're out and about, let's say you live in New York City. Say you live in Jersey. Sorry, God forbid. Let's say you live in Pittsburgh. Let's say you live in certain areas where you're not allowed to carry. You know how long it takes to have a concealed carry in New York? You need to be a prominent person. You need to be a judge. You need to be a lawyer. And it takes a while to get a concealed carry. Most common people don't conceal carry in New York like they do here in Nebraska. I'm very thankful I live
And
here
here
in
in
Nebraska.
Nebraska, you can legally open carry.
Yes, which I love. I love that. But more and more states are going against the concealed carry, going against the open carry, and it's kind of moving from the coasts inward. So I'm just waiting
Because
for that.
of their rhetoric,
Correct.
guns kill people.
Common sense gun laws. I hate
Guns
those
don't
words.
kill people. People kill people. Guns, they have all those gun shows. And it's amazing. No one gets killed at the gun shows. The gun doesn't jump up,
That happens off
arm
camera.
itself, and then you shoot somebody at random.
You mean it's not, life isn't Looney Tunes?
No, life isn't. No,
It should be. Anyway, so yeah, let's say you're out and about. You're one of those cities, one of those states where you can't have a gun. What happens if someone tries to take your kid? What happens if someone comes over and grabs your wife? What happens? What do you do?
Well, you could have a taser.
You could have a
You
taser.
can't carry a gun.
But that might be
get
illegal.
Well, if it's legal, get yourself a taser. You know what? I'd have a taser anyway.
Well, you know what? That's not a bad idea. But at the same time, some people don't want to chance the law. They don't want to go against the law. They won't
I'd
carry
rather
a taser.
protect my family and have a taser.
I get that.
Yes.
But we're talking someone who's believed the rhetoric.
These rocks are too heavy to carry,
You just,
and they're pretty
you
obvious.
put it on your back and you wear it like Yoda.
They're
But
pretty
no,
obvious.
what do you do in that scenario where you're out and about? Okay, you can have a taser. Let's say you don't have a taser. Then what? What do you do? What do you do?
Well, definitely I'm going to lay down my life if that's what's necessary.
No, let's get more specific. You're out with your grandkids. You got 3 of them. You go to Cold Stone Creamery with your wife and these 3 grandkids. And 2 guys walk up and they want to take your kids. Your
I look at
grandkids.
them and I say, I have a particular set of skills that I've acquired over many years of training.
We all secretly want to be Liam Neeson and Taken.
Yes, we do. It's hard to say what you would do until you're faced with that situation, but
What would you do?
what
Just
if they
think.
just walked up and said,
If they want, no,
"I'm
no,
taking
they're
your
not going to
kids."
say anything.
Okay,
They're
well,
going to
that's
take
what
your
you just
kids.
said.
No, they walk up and take them. They walk up and try to take them. No one's
Well,
going to go, excuse me, sir.
I'm going to jump on them.
I
I'm
would
going to
like-
beat the crap
there
out
we
of them.
go. Okay. You're going to jump on them. You're going to beat the crap out of them.
I'm
What are you
beat
going to
the
do?
crap,
You're going
crap,
to kick them?
crap. I'm going to
You're
beat
going to
the
kick them? You're going to punch them? What are you going to do?
I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to act like, gee, my grandkids' lives depend on me defending them.
There you go.
And so I will defend them to the uttermost, even if that means I'm putting them down for good.
If you can.
If I can.
If you can.
If I can.
Now, I would call that physical protection using your body, using what you have on you.
Which means I've got to keep my body to the point where I can defend.
Bingo.
I
Now,
knew that's what you're
I'm going to
getting
say
at.
this. When you're there, you have your keys on you. You can use your keys.
Oh, yeah.
Why not use your keys? You have
Oh,
your
yeah.
phone on you. That's an object.
Yep.
Is there something by you? Yeah, because guess what? You can have a rock right by you. If you have a rock by you,
Yeah, you could be outside right by the garden.
Now, here's the whole point of this. If you are a man and you're protecting your family, you're out and about, you're at Kohl's, you're at Walmart, you're wherever. Walmart, luckily
yeah.
we don't live in Florida because Florida Walmarts are where all the things happen. But we have some Walmarts here where things can happen. And the reality is if we have things happening here and you have nothing on you and it's just your body as a man, there needs to be a certain level of fitness.
Right.
Because I'll tell you right now, if you are overweight, if you are unhealthy,
And you, by overweight, you mean like grossly.
I mean, if you were pushed down and it took you 15 seconds to get up,
Your kids are gone.
your grandkids, your kids are gone. Now, it's a whole different ball game if you're an older person. If you actually have a disability, then I really do encourage you to get a concealed carry.
Yeah, because your
then that's
body can't be the weapon you want it to be.
So really, I'm talking to those who have the option of getting healthier, who have the option of getting into a weight room, who have the option of talking to a nutritionist, who have the option because their body isn't given out, but their body's out of shape. It's important to keep it in shape because if you're out and about and the only thing that you have is your body, the only thing that you have are your legs and your fists, the only thing you have are the things that are in your pockets, you need to be able to protect your kids. And I'm telling you right now, we know a couple of our dear friends from CERT Ministries and from ARC, Association of the Recovery of Children, where we hear all the time of kids being taken, all the time of kids being lured, all the time. And there's all these different scenarios where if a parent either paid attention, if a father is
just going to
protecting,
comment on that.
if they're situationally aware, that means that your head's on a swivel. That means you're not just, nutrition facts about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. No,
Let's
you're
talk
looking
about
around.
that. keep your head on a swivel is a military term, meaning be ever aware of your surroundings.
Oh, yeah. Know
Be
who's around
conscious
you.
of your surroundings. If people look suspicious, consider everybody suspicious
Yeah.
that you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's
Yeah,
a guy
be
behind
aware
you.
of
Just
your
know, use
yeah.
your peripheral vision. You don't have to go,
and look out for people coming up to get your attention and turning you, ladies, turning you away from your cart where your baby is in to ask you a question and then somebody grabbing your child.
no. And you remember the knockout game? Do you remember that? The knockout game was popular about, I'm going to say, 8 years ago, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But the knockout game was basically where people were walking around. It got real popular in New York, where people would walk around and some random person come up and hit you, blindside you, sucker punch you in the back of the head, the side of the head. You wouldn't see it coming. Someone would come up and punch you and knock you out. And that was called the knockout game.
No, I never heard of that.
That was, and it was a terrible thing. It was done all over the coastal cities and things of that nature.
Popular now. It's on TikTok.
Oh, it's popular now still?
Women are getting smacked in the face in New York.
Wow. Yeah, New York needs to repent.
I tell you what, y'all better know that this pastor carries. And
Luckily,
this
we don't
pastor
really-
loves his wife and his children and his grandchildren. And I'll be like that one guy. Yeah, my warning shot went right through his heart.
There you go. You know, I think it's Theodore Roosevelt who said, "Speak softly, but carry a big stick."
Carry a big stick.
And so I'll say this: the knockout game apparently is still popular, but yeah, having your head on a swivel would actually prevent that because if you're just walking and you're looking at your phone, these these less than reputable characters
thugs.
will jump and they'll just hit you. If you're actually looking around, like, okay, here, what's around me? Where's my peripherals? Then you actually could avoid that. And that's the same thing at Walmart. That's the same thing whenever you're shopping. That's the same thing when you're out,
Let me give
wherever.
you the King James definition of people like that: lewd fellows of the baser sort.
There you go.
You know, that's
That
one
sounds a
reason
lot
I
nicer.
love the Marines. I have two boys. I'm not a Marine. I didn't have that privilege. I tried to enlist when I was 17, but I had eye problems back then. Took the test twice, but failed. So they gave me a 4F classification, which means not suitable under any circumstances.
But they're beautiful eyes.
But
Beautiful.
these beautiful eyes produced two Marines. So I made two Marines.
Golden Boy.
Hallelujah. And both of the Marines will tell you when you're in the Marines and you're in basic training, your drill instructor, what's the primary use of this pen? Sir, to kill, sir. What's the primary use of this phone? Sir, to kill, sir. What's the primary use of this wash rag? Sir, to kill, sir. They're trained to use what you were getting back to. Use everything within your reach, everything within your grasp. Your watch, you said your phone. If you aren't concealed carrying and your grandchildren or children or wife is in danger of being abducted, use everything around you. Everything is there for you to protect your family.
And I'll say this, and this is something that I actually do encourage men to do, and I've spoken to those who are trained way better than I am, because I don't have any formal training. I just have gleaned from people who've had formal training. But one thing that's really important to do is actually run through mental scenarios in your head. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Running through a mental scenario. Okay, I'm going to Walmart. If somebody tries this, what am I going to do? If somebody breaks into my house, what am I going to do? If somebody blank, blank,
It's
and
like they're
blank,
saying,
what am I
have a
going to
plan
do?
if your house catches on fire.
Yes, and
Have
the
an
reason
escape
you do
plan.
that, the reason you do that is because if you are not mentally prepared, if someone tries to grab your child, if someone tries to grab your wife by the hair, because you actually that happens.
That does happen.
That does happen where they grab a full-blown female and
Adult
throw them in the
female,
car
right.
and throw them in the trunk and take them off, and you'll never see them again. The reality is that when that happens, it's a little bit of a shock to the system where you're kind of like, what's going on? And you'll react
Right.
slower.
You'll
react slower unless
hesitate.
unless you run through some mental scenarios and you are prepared. Don't be caught off guard.
Because one thing you think, oh, it's a friend of mine I can't see, they're doing a prank.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hurt them. No, you want to hurt them.
Yeah, actually,
You want to hurt them.
I'll tell you this here. I'll tell you a little. I love this. So years ago, I took a youth group to YWAM Los Angeles. Okay, Youth with a Mission Los Angeles, and we did this week-long deal where basically you're 3 days on their mission base, and you're being taught the Word of God, you're being prayed for, you're being trained, and then you do 3 days off the mission base. And we actually went to South Central LA. We stayed in a community center. It was great. Well, one of the guys there was a sniper in Afghanistan. I liked the guy a lot, but he's seen some things. He had PTSD, all that stuff. But he was a young
that's
man.
bad.
And one thing that they tried, or that they did actually, the week before with another group that came in, was they had some of their people. Now, you may not agree with this or whatever, and that's fine. You know, whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's a fact. So they dressed up as if they were terrorists. And they actually abducted in the class itself. They abducted the kids and they brought them to a trailer. And one by one, they had someone pretend to be a terrorist and basically had them denounce Christ or die. And some who denounced Christ were so angry at that. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that, that's fine. They tricked them. Now, when my group came, I loved this. They took me aside and they said, "Hey, we did this last week. We were going to do it with your group, but you have too many young men who are fit. We're a little worried that they're going to fight.
Beat the crap out of us."
Yep. Because we had like the second in the state in terms of wrestling. We had a weightlifter. We had several people, myself included. They were worried. And so they actually didn't do it with us.
Come on.
Because our guys were at least smart enough to know we're going to kick, we're going to scream. And these were young men. These were teenagers. They knew we're going to protect our women. We're going to protect those weaker.
Scream. That's another thing.
That's a huge thing. Oh, yeah. Make noise.
Make noise.
Make noise. And don't say help. Say fire.
Now, I will say this about people that are grossly overweight. They're probably not going to be selected to get kidnapped. And if they do, it's going to be harder to get them in the car. Just to show
gonna
a
say
positive
this.
thing on,
Here, I'm going to tell you this because this happened last night in our city. Okay, and this is why I'm happy. This is a young man. I've talked about this before. I have youth and I have young men come and use my gym. Sometimes it's just we're just working out and we're having fun. Sometimes it's serious biblical discussion. And this is a young man who comes and uses my gym, and he has good parents and everything like that, but he is physically preparing himself for whatever he needs, whether it be sports, whether it be his job, whether it be protection. This happened last night. I'm going to read this to you. On my way home from Culver's tonight, this just happened at 10:15. I was driving home and I went past 70th and O, and this big Dodge Ram starts tailgating me for about 10 minutes. So I pulled into a random neighborhood and I look in my rear window, and these three guys running out of the truck towards my truck. So I put the pedal to the metal and went down a certain street about 85 miles per hour, turned off my headlights, and pulled into my neighborhood, and I'm home safe now. This happened last night.
wow.
So you always got to be ready. This is like a 15, 16-year-old kid. And three guys follow him, get out of a car, and start rushing his car.
If it's who I'm thinking of,
No,
I
you
mean,
don't
his
know.
pickup's not like a
No,
brand
you don't
new
know.
truck.
It's not that person.
Okay.
Totally different person.
Wow.
Way less hardened by life. I'll put it that way. Just a gentle giant.
But they knew what to do.
Correct. And I told him next time, I said, drive to the police station. Just straight up. I said, invest in a dash cam. Because if he was close to the police station, he could have just pulled right in.
Pull into a gas station, begin honking your horn like crazy.
That's another thing. But yeah, I said invest in a dash cam. That way you can actually get these guys next time. And he's actually looking into that. But he called his parents, all that stuff. But the whole thing is he's at least in some kind of physical condition, even as a 16-year-old, to be able to defend himself enough. Like, because there's a lot of young men that I see today that are actually less fit than most of the girls who are in the same age range. Like they look like skin and bones. They don't do anything.
Like if they transgendered, a girl might actually knock them out.
Like if they stuck on a wig, they might be able to pass.
No, but I mean, if they went
yeah.
against a woman, she would knock them out.
Oh yeah. I believe my daughter can take on some of the youth in my youth group, to be honest with you. My daughter's 10 years old because some of these guys are just do nothing. They do nothing physically. And it's important to have that balance of
And it's
physical,
sad that-
mental,
yeah,
all
and our
that.
world's becoming worse and worse in that
Correct.
area.
And it's just vital for a grown man to be able to protect your family if you have nothing else. You know, I'll say
if you're
this.
aged and you can't do it
Yeah.
with your physical strength,
Get a weapon.
you may wanna
get
think
a
about-
taser. Get a police baton.
or the
the police
or
batons
the
that extend.
the police baton that extends, or the bear spray.
Or the bear spray, mace, all that. You have something where you can protect those who are weaker than you. And I'll say this also. The reality of it is, I've had youth ask me, why do you work out? And I said, because I'm either going to take a few guys with me who want to hurt my family, or I'm going to be a great human shield if I'm getting shot at so my family doesn't get hit. That's my reasoning. It's
That's
not
good.
for
That's good
vanity.
reasoning.
It's not for vanity. It's not for, let me
Not for
flex in
GQ
the
magazine.
You know what? It's not. I actually tell the young men who flex in my mirror, I said, stop it. You're not that good looking. I don't like that.
And your legs aren't that great either.
That's right. So
Okay, so number
that's
one was protection for your home.
protection for the home,
Number two was protection when you're out of your home
protection for when you're out of your
for
home.
the family. You're actually going to curl the rock. I don't have weights. Well, I got a rock.
Oh, I've had some people be absolutely desperate to work out and grab rocks out of nowhere.
What's number three?
Number three, and this is a different type of protection. We have a lot of men who forfeit their role as protector in their family and just give it to their wife regarding this one thing. You need to protect your family as a man, protect your kids, protect your wife from the propaganda and from the education, from the false rhetoric that comes out that's actually an onslaught against your kids'
That's
mental well-being.
brainwashing your children.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's important to protect your kids from the worldly influences. There are parents that have no idea what their kids are doing on tablets, on their phones.
Or they don't care.
Or they don't care. But they have
Shame
men.
on those parents.
No, but there's also men who just go, okay, wife, you're in charge of the kids at home. And they're not doing anything to make sure they're protecting the children.
You want to be a real man according to God's standards, you will lead your family.
So what are some ways to protect your children against the worldly influence and the propaganda today
Well,
that
see,
you would employ?
That I would employ?
Yeah.
I would check who their friends are, number one.
Like
you know,
background check? Well, we could do
If
that.
I have to,
We have that capability.
I would check
Praise the
who
Lord.
their friends are. I want to know their friends. I want to meet their friends. Mm-hmm. You know, I would check what schoolwork is being assigned to them
Oh, yeah.
as much as I can.
There was a father at I think it was a school board meeting the other day, just reading an excerpt
Oh,
from
yeah.
a book.
Oh, yeah.
That was
That
just
was purely
absolutely
sexual.
filthy. And they kicked him out for reading excerpts from this book that they allowed in their library. That's part of the curriculum. Who you got there?
I got one of my Marine sons.
Buy me another weapon.
No. Tell him
Get
we're
me
we're
3
doing
rocks.
we're doing a podcast. We're not live, so
No, it's true. But anyway, so what are some other things you would do?
let's see. The first thing I said
hold on,
was
hold on.
know the
As
friends.
a grandfather, let's go with a grandfather.
Oh boy,
Because
that's a
because
little
that- no,
harder
'cause
because
that's
the
I can't speak
grandkids
towards
don't
that.
live with me. The
No, I know,
grandkids
but
live.
I can't speak towards that. You can.
Well, pretty much the same thing. You know, try as best I can. Number one, I want to speak into their lives the Word of God. I
big
want
one.
to speak into them the Word of God. I want to continually check as best I can to see, hey, are you walking with the Lord? I want to check as best I can, which being the grandfather and not living in the home, it's harder to do, who their friends are, what kind of influence. And I can kind of tell sometimes what kind of influence they are under by how they are behaving when they're with me, what they are saying when they are with me? Have their respect for adults lessened when they are with me? I can do that. And of course, I want to give them, tools that will help them walk in this society we live in. Besides the Bible, I can.
What
give
are
them,
some examples? Yeah.
Some examples are some good books. Books are huge. I mean, that's how the leftards, as my one pastor friend calls them, the leftards, that's how they are, and they learned it from Hitler. That's how they are, Hitler and many others. That's how they are propagating or pushing their agenda through the printed material.
No, it's true.
And so I can help combat that with good printed material.
Okay.
I've just given you 3 ways.
No, that's
and
fine.
outside of stalking their house and seeing who's, that's one thing though. If they have a Facebook page, I could go on that Facebook page.
Oh my gosh.
And I can see what's happening there. Go ahead.
Let me comment on that. Our dear friend, Basil Boz, has a new wife that he's known for years, but recently became his wife. And this woman is an absolute dynamo when it comes to operations. And we're talking the Association for the Recovery of Children. She is an absolute dynamo, just on the money, mentally there.
Intelligence and
Yeah,
all of
she's
that.
very much aware. She helps so many women who have been rescued out of sex trafficking, as well as trying to pull women out of sex trafficking for those who are just completely mentally just shot. And I bring her up because one of the things she talked about to our women was get on your kids' Facebook page, get on your kids' social media. Why are you even allowing them
on their
social
phones.
media? Get on their phones. Because for her, she's talking about protecting your kids from the predators.
Mm-hmm.
As men, we should know, even if it's you and your wife, because, hey, guess what? Marriage is a partnership. It's this weird thing where there's roles, but it's also a partnership.
Right.
Because I can't be home right now with my kid. So I have to make sure that my wife and me are in agreement with what she's doing at home. Because if she's just going, yeah, take the tablet. Yeah, take the phone.
You got to make sure she's
yeah, I don't
trenchant.
care. Oh, how many times can we incorporate that in this conversation?
On the edge.
But no, if you're not in unison, who knows what she's not doing? Who knows what she is doing?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing reversed. If you are not in unison and in agreement, you can be leaving your kid completely unprotected from. Here, let's go from without and from within. From without, from those sexual predators, from those people looking to get your children outside the home. Hey, meet me here. I have a puppy. Hey, meet me here. You're so beautiful. Hey, you have your model? All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then from within, the stuff that is put into phones. Okay, there are algorithms that literally give you advertisements, give you suggestions based on your age and based on your marital status.
And based on what your phone hears you say,
Oh,
even
yeah.
when you're not speaking into the phone.
But let's just say my battery is out of the phone. Even though my battery is out of the phone, because of the algorithms in place, I'll get stuff that's completely like suggestive. Just suggestive advertisements. Oh, you should follow this page. Do you know how many times I have to hit the unfollow or the this is inappropriate on my phone just so I can actually remain in Facebook? It's ridiculous. Because they know who I am. They know that I'm a man. They know that I'm 30 to 40, and they know if I put enough of this
That
in
you
front,
work out.
I can go ahead and pull them in. For your children, there are advertisements because they know, oh, this is a game that's geared towards a 6 to 12-year-old, a 6 to 11-year-old. There are advertisements that are specifically geared towards gender confusion. They're specifically geared towards, oh, you could be this, you could be that, you could be whatever you want. You could be a unicorn, a leopard. You could be. And so there's propaganda
Fluffy.
coming. Yeah, there's propaganda coming through all kinds of electronic devices that parents aren't even aware of.
Okay, so besides what I said and what you just said, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, men, step up, grow a set, step up, learn how to use a firearm. Learn how to use a firearm. Take a class if you're afraid. If you're from one of the coastal cities, if you believe the propaganda, figure it out. And guess what? If you don't have weights, I'm sure you have a nice rock in your backyard. Somewhere in the yard, there's a rock, there's a stick. If you don't want to buy weights,
Pin.
yeah, start running. Do some jumping jacks. Be physically able to protect your family. Be able to protect your family mentally. Be able to protect them spiritually. Huge. Like you said, speaking the word of God. But a man is called to protect his family, not just provide, but to protect his family.
And not just be on the defensive, but to be on the offensive.
To be ready.
Right.
To be ready. And you need to be ready physically, mentally, emotionally. A lot of guys just give into their anger. You need to be ready emotionally to deal with whatever's coming your way. Don't just give into anger. You have to be able to think clearly. When you get angry, there's actually something that clouds your
Right.
judgment. I can't remember what the chemical is called, but it's released. And so be ready spiritually. Be ready in all ways to protect your family and to protect those weaker. Mm-hmm. Have you ever swung at anybody have you ever witnessed anybody getting hurt or possibly assaulted or possibly verbally assaulted where you've had to step in? Has that ever
Oh,
happened?
yeah.
Tell us.
No, it's just happened. I can't think of a particular incident. Well, I can. Two people arguing, get in between them. Sometimes it's been a husband and a wife. Get in between them, or they start grappling. Two guys pull one of them off. I know it's a risk though, because you risk getting hit.
Yeah, that's true.
You do risk getting hit. I've seen too many guys in movies get hit. So
Or just watch hockey. Hockey players are nuts in a good way. I'd like to be friends with some hockey players, but here in Nebraska, we have the Stars, which, whatever. Anyway,
it's a hockey team. Lincoln
it's a
Stars.
hockey team. But yeah,
But
I mean,
our,
anything you wanna
our
add here?
cameraman, he plays hockey.
He does. I don't know. Have you gotten in any fights?
I've had to come between some.
Okay, so he's had to do the same thing. He's had to break some people up. But let me know when you get in a fight. That'd be cool to hear. Anyway. So do you want to take us out, or do you have anything to add to this in terms of protecting?
Yeah, avoid fights as much as possible, but if you can't,
That's actually here. I'll add, because you just reminded me. I had a youth ask me if I knew any classes for self-defense, any karate classes, Krav Maga classes, MMA. And I said, why? He goes, because I want to be able to beat up people. And I said, since I've been a Christian, I have not had to fight anybody. I've been able to speak, to joke, to schmooze. I'll put a little word on there for you, to finesse my way out of any situation, even when somebody wanted to rip my head off for preaching the word of God or speaking the word of God. I've been able to talk my way out of it. I've been
Yes.
able to love my way out of it, so to speak. Not physically, obviously, but with the words of the Lord.
using the Lord's wisdom.
It's, again, needing it and not having it is worse than having it and not needing it.
Right.
Want to have it, want to be prepared.
Be prepared. That's the Boy Scout motto. Or is it just Scouts now? I don't remember. It was Boy Scouts when I was in it.
The Scouts.
Now it's the Scouts?
I don't know. It's just stupid.
What was it what that one guy said when the apologetic guy, the guy that wears the cap, what's his name? Come on. Your Jewish friend. You know him. You love him.
Jonathan Kahn?
No.
My Jewish friend.
Yes.
We all know each other, apparently. We're connected.
No. He's online and on TV, and he wears the Jewish cap.
Ben Shapiro?
Yes, that guy.
Oh, I wish he
What
was my
it
friend.
when he went to the university and the one lady said, well, how do you, what was it? You got a better memory than
he goes,
I do.
it's some college student. She walks up to him. She's like, who are you to say that there can't be girls in Boy Scouts?
Or who are they to say?
Who are they to say? And he goes, it's in the name Boy Scouts. Something like that.
That was before.
It was years ago. It was
yeah.
when he was rising in popularity, but that guy's a dynamo of
Oh,
information.
yes. He's a dynamo.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the podcast. This is Pastor Mike thanking you. And I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Michael to take us home.
And we hope that this has edified some men and challenged some men to do something to be prepared. So we do love you.
You love your family.
Yeah.
You love your children. You love your grandchildren.
And society. Like, you need to contribute to society. You need to be ready. Well, how are you supposed to help somebody? If you see something going on, how are you supposed to help somebody? Point to it? Look what's happening.
All right.
Run to it. Be a man.
Take us home.
Anyway, yes, I'm Pastor Michael, and please like and subscribe. Email us some more suggested vocabulary words.
Because we'll have another contest.
We'll have another contest at ASKTWOMIKES ask2mics@gmail.com. That's ask2mics@gmail.com. Please share. And we do love you. And yeah, for you men out there, man up.